Hey everybody, TacticAngel here, back on the PlayStation 4, playing some World of Warships Legends. We're on Trident. I am in Scharnhorst. I will go ahead and put my commander build on the screen. It's not very good for this, but I did want to talk a little bit more about the Scharnhorst because I guess my feelings about the boat were a little muddled in my review. Naturally, I said most people probably won't want to buy this ship. I stand by that essentially because you're buying this ship, you're seeing a German battleship, you're thinking these guns are going to be amazing. They're not. They're not useless, but they're not amazing, and you will see me kind of switch back and forth here between AP and HE throughout this game. Essentially, the reason why I particularly like this ship is because it is somewhere between a battleship and a cruiser. And I like cruisers quite a bit, but I also like that hang in there and try to tank all this damage like a battleship. So the Scharnhorst offers me the best of both worlds here in terms of having guns that are basically cruiser guns. They're actually a little bit bigger than any cruiser guns in the game, but they are smaller than any other battleship guns in the game. So if you're the type of person who's going to run out there and shoot AP all game, this is not necessarily a ship for you. And even then you saw I was shooting at, rather than shooting at a cruiser, I was choosing to shoot at the destroyer because I consider the destroyer to be a little bit more of a danger to me than a cruiser. At least I can see a cruiser. And since you are going to be using probably a good amount of HE in the Scharnhorst, you have that versatility plus the really quick gun turrets to actually whip your turrets around and actually hit those little tiny bastard destroyer things. So here I am, I'm in a game, I'm playing with my buddy. I've got Saint on my team. He's probably back there at this point informing me that what I'm doing is essentially suicidal in pretty much any other battleship, and he's right. We're coming around the end of this island. We're nosing in towards that smoke screen. Unfortunately, we get spotted by an aircraft, which is not what I wanted to have happen, because if that destroyer has any torpedoes, he now knows exactly where I'm at, rather than just having a pretty darn good idea. Well, a pretty darn good idea as long as he was expecting me to do something fairly silly. So I'm coming around, I'm hoping to draw this guy out. Obviously, your third module, you don't have much of a choice. It does increase the range of guaranteed acquisition by 50%. So maybe I can spot him sooner than ordinary. Still, that's only 3 kilometers, so this isn't going to help much. We see him there for a second. I take a wild guess. Looks like I guessed pretty well, but it just didn't work out. And that Mayhan is unfortunately going to get away, and that'll probably come back to hurt us a little bit later. There you can see all the Mayhan's torpedoes. I'm going to take a little bit of a turn to port here to make sure that my back end starts swinging around the other way. And I miss all of those torpedoes, not exactly rocket science there. You can see I'm doing a lot of zigging and a lot of zagging in this ship. That is essentially to try to pre-dodge the torpedo before I can see it. The worst thing you can do is try to dodge a torpedo after you can already see it. This is some fairly ill-advised gunnery, shooting the Mayhan when I have 2 perfectly reasonable targets to shoot that are behind it. But I had HE loaded, and I kind of feel like I want to shoot some AP at this Pensacola. Pensacola is naturally not a very well-armored ship, and a lot of people hate the Pensacola specifically because it gets citadeled all the time. It does have tremendous firepower for its tier. It's just those turrets are slow, and that citadel is half of the boat. Now, unfortunately, it looks like our team isn't doing all that well. We were down 2 ships. I managed to bring that back to down 1 ship, and I'm still sailing out in an unsupported position. That would be the nicest way to put it. I think that Scharnhorst is probably already targeting me with torpedoes based on how he was moving just then. So I already start to dodge. And there you go. There's some torpedoes just like I thought. I put some torpedoes out there as well. I don't expect that these are going to hit, but, you know, they're cheap. He seems to have realized that he's in a not-so-great position, so he's backing up. And this gives me a little bit of an advantage in terms of speed and maneuverability because he has to get that head of speed up. Again, I'm going to put these a little bit in front of his ship and immediately start slowing down. I really should have slammed on the brakes here. I might have not eaten 2 of these. I might have just eaten 1. That would have been nice. But you can see immediately the speed of the turrets. This is another thing that you like with the Scharnhorst. You can whip those turrets around pretty quick. I'm already putting shells down on that Mayhem. I'm not doing a lot of damage with those shells, but I certainly can respond to everything that's going on around me. And first and foremost, if you're going to buy the Scharnhorst, you need to be an aggressive player. Because sailing around in the back of the map with 11-inch guns and hoping to play sniper is not a recipe for success in life. So in this case, this entire match, I am, let's say, very, very aggressive. And I tend to be fairly aggressive with the Scharnhorst. And sometimes I'm even more aggressive than fairly aggressive. And this is one of those matches. If you go bow in, you can block a lot of stuff. I know some people say they have luck bouncing Iowas. I don't at all. But, I mean, it happens. But I also get citadeled through the front of this ship. But naturally, the Iowa is a tier 7 ship. And you should expect that it's going to wreck you. So we have a Nuremberg out there still. Nuremberg's a fun thing to shoot at, but I am still worried a little bit more about that last destroyer. Obviously, we continue to maneuver here and there. Part of it's to get our back guns around, so we can do that. The other part of it is to try to make sure that we don't get hit by torpedoes. It looks like whatever I was doing had some effect, because those were some pretty questionably aimed torpedoes. My guess is my frequent direction changes have helped to make sure that he doesn't get a good lock on me, really. I put those torpedoes out there mostly thinking, well, if he tries to stop in the smoke screen, that'll at least make his life a little bit more difficult. It looks like he's actually going to be running. I launch a spotter aircraft to see if he comes out the other side, and there he is. At Katsuki, we get a whole bunch of shots in on him, do a good amount of damage. As you can see, we're starting to accrue some medals here, which is nice. We're having a pretty decent game. You can see just the way that those secondaries will help you out in terms of damage. That's a terrible shot I don't want to talk about, but I didn't catch on that his engine was out. And once again, our aggression has paid off. And this is really what the Scharnhorst is all about. You want to close to close distance, medium to close distance, so that you can use your guns with decent accuracy. You can start to work in your secondaries, particularly if you have a secondary captain. I do not. That would certainly make the Scharnhorst quite a bit better. And then those torpedoes are also, they're pretty unique, at least at this point. I imagine that we'll probably be seeing a few more ships that have torpedoes that are of this kind of hybrid play style. In any case, that miss on the destroyer pretty well submarined my chance of getting a Kraken on this game. So we'll just have to try to finish the Miyoko off. I know that at this point Saint was yelling at me that it's like, dude, you need to take it easy here. You can't just be flying around into everybody's face. But playing the Scharnhorst really makes me want to punch people in the nose. It's just that kind of ship. We're getting right up in this guy's grill. Unfortunately, this is like the only time my main battery couldn't get around to actually shoot at somebody. I probably could have gotten a shot off a little bit earlier. But there we go. We go ahead and win. We make a phenomenally stupid amount of money off of this. We get 4 ribbons there. So if you guys are looking for a reason to buy the Scharnhorst, consider something like this, but only consider it if you're very aggressive. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys on the next one.